Alright guys, so this just came out of nowhere, so I just figured, fuck it, I'll just do this as a video. And that is, what if the Tau existed in the Halo universe? Now, of all the factions of Warhammer you could have put in the Halo universe, the Tau really do make the most sense, and are probably the best case scenario for, well, the humans involved. So, we're going to basically talk about what would it be like if the Tau existed in Warhammer, not almost a Warhammer, Jesus, Halo, in the Halo universe. So let's talk about a few things. Would they be aligned with the Covenant? You see, I've kind of bantied on this back and forth, but I really don't think the Tau and the Covenant would be an alliance. The Tau and the Covenant would basically have a holy war. Like, it's basically like who could probably try to assimilate what race, like, who could take in which race the fastest. And on top of that, I think the prophets would view the greater good and the elemental count and the ethereals as heretics. They would view them as, something they're preaching, like a falsehood of God, of their gods. And they would be like, yeah, the greater good's also a way to heresy. So they would just outlaw any planet trying to, practice the Tau's greater good and things like that. And the Tau, in turn, would be like... I think the Tau would try to even communicate with the Covenant, but I think the Ethereals would have the same thing as the Prophets, where it's like, their version of their religion is really hostile, and also, like, it kind of interferes with our whole plan of kind of creating caste systems and whatnot, and low-key manipulation with people. So the Ethereals and the Prophets would try... I think there would be, at first, the Tau and the Covenant would probably try to meet on even ground at first, but I think but eventually they're like the two religions as well as everything else in between would probably go the way of, well, this ain't working, let's kill each other. Now, the Tau the interactions with the Tau would be interesting with humanity. The UNSC would be a fascinating interaction between the two, between humans and the Tau. I think it depends on which alien life meets Earth first. That's what it's really going to depend on. If the Covenant were if the war with the Covenant happened first, they're going to be the UNSC is going to be pretty fucking cagey about the idea of working with the Tau, because the Tau, of course, would try to meet with the humans and be like, hey, we're the greater good, and we'll openly work with you. And that's the other thing, is that humanity is more than, as we've seen with them working with the elites and other people who turned against the Covenant, the UNSC is more than willing to work with other alien races. But again, this really does kind of predicate on the thought process of which alien race is going to meet first. Again, if the Covenant, if they're going to be like a little cagey about, hey, these guys operate like the Covenant, they also have kind of a same kind of holy system in a way, and they want us to be part of their group, they'd be cagey about it. Especially Oni being, Oni. Now, if it's the Tau mankind met first, I think that would be an interesting turn of events. The Tau and humanity making contact wouldn't be they wouldn't open fire on each other, at least not at first. I think the Tau would, of course, reach out and be like, hey, what's up? We're, how you doing? We're the Tau, and we bring the word of the greater good. Would you like to join us? And humanity would be like, do we? You hear this? Like, I think that would be like kind of the other thing. Now, if humanity and the Tau met, I feel like there's two different ways this could go. If the Tau and humanity met first, because again, there may be a chance if humanity made an alliance with the Tau, they would also be swapping weaponry, and I feel like Oni wouldn't have the kind of power it did. And because, again, you can just depend on if you're fighting the Covenant, and I'm sure the Covenants and the Tau probably been waging war for a while. If they're both had advanced technology and probably been conquering spaceways, and again, the Tau would probably be unhindered since this isn't as big a galaxy. Really, the only competition is the Covenant. So the Tau would probably have a much larger empire, and competing, since they would be able to have interstellar travel and be able to move faster without running into the Orcs or the Tyranids or the Imperium or the Eldar. So the Tau would probably have a more expansive empire. Would it be galaxy spanning? Or yeah, it would probably be a good 100 worlds. But again, it'd be more race with the Covenant. But cycling back to humanity, of like their encounter with humanity, it would be fascinating because would even Spartans be needed at that point if humanity and Tau made an alliance? Because again, if the Tau met humanity first, I feel like the Tau would tell them, hey, there's this group called the Covenant we're at war with, and they're probably coming to kill you because you're not like them. You want to hang out with us and maybe learn about the greater good and maybe get psychically manipulated into joining our caste systems? Now, what? I didn't say that. Could that happen? I feel like that's a solid idea, but for sake of argument, I feel like humanity would still build the Spartans, because I feel like humanity would still be like, we can't fully depend on the Tau to help us. So I feel like the Spartan program would be there, but I feel like the government would be more willing to work with them right out the gate rather than, let Oni get as big as it did. So that's just how I see it. Now, as for, like, again, would they work together? I feel, again, we've seen the Tau willingly work with the Imperium and the Eldar, so it's no doubt in my mind that humanity and the Tau would, the UNSC and the Tau would unite. And I feel like if the Tau were on their side and there was at least an alliance. I don't know if like humanity would still be willing to join them in their empire. I feel like they'd be like, nah, we're gonna do our own thing. But I feel like also humanity, since there's so many colony worlds, I feel like rather than falling into an insurrection group, or the various terrorist cells or separatists, some of them would just go to it would just see, hey, we got a pretty good life if we join this greater good shit. So there would be I feel like there'd be worlds who would openly like vote to leave the UNSC to join the Tau. I don't know how the UNSC would react to that, because I feel like, well, we can't really go to war with them. They're, we're trading weapons. That would be another thing. They'd be, interested in weapon trade as well as like cultural exchange. You got to remember, I know like in 4 and 5 and Infinite, the UNSC became more fascist, which sucks. The whole thing of like originally they were like a more military version of the Federation, where the UNSC was pretty open to to a lot of ideas. So I feel like if this is early UNSC meeting the Tau, they would probably be more willing to like exchange weapons. Hell, I would imagine if Reach put out an AP during the Siege of Reach, I would imagine it would probably be at least last at the bare minimum, last maybe a few more weeks, and maybe get more people out of there, or even be able like the Tau fleet. I don't know if the Tau fleet could go blow for blow with the full Covenant fleet. But I will say, if the Tau were backing up the UNSC fleet, the two combined armadas could probably drive off the Covenant, and Reach would still be standing. It probably would, but the devastation would probably still be there. But again, going back, would humans actually like leave the UNSC to go join them? Again, it's a possibility. I think it's a very strong possibility that could happen. I don't know how the UNSC would react to that, or if they were like, well, we don't want to like piss off our new alien friends, so maybe that would be up to colony worlds if they wanted like leave and join them, to join their caste systems. Now, again, I don't see the UNSC fully joining the Tau, the Tau Empire. I do see, however, there would be a working friendship between the two with cultural exchange. Like, I do see, like, Tau would be on, or, like, Tau ethereals, maybe not ethereals, but, like, several major leaders of the caste systems being on Earth or other major colony worlds, where at the same time, soldiers of the UNSC, or even Spartans, would be backing up Fire Warriors. Like, you could just totally see Farsight and Master Chief fucking up Covenant. Now here's the one you've probably been waiting for, is like, how would they react to the Flood? I imagine they would probably, like, the Flood are devastating, and I don't care how technologically advanced you are, the Flood are gonna flood. And I do see, however, that the Tau would probably look at the threat of it, and realize, hey, this is how we gotta stop it, and the Tau would probably figure out like maybe some kind of agent to like at least keep the flood from spreading like a host. I would imagine they'd probably invent something like that. It would take a while and a lot of experiments. So I do see that like the flood would probably, by that point though, the flood would probably take a few worlds would be gone from the Tau Empire before they managed to figure out at least something to slow them down. So yeah, all in all, I think humanity, if the Tau were on the were in that universe, I feel like mankind would have a better chance in even taking back worlds faster, and even going on blow for blow with the Tau at their side. Because I don't see the Tau and the Covenant being allies. They're too culturally and religiously and ideologically different from each other that they could not vibe with each other. So those two would probably be at war for millennia. And eventually, when the humanity joins in, it would like even if they met the Covenant first and then encountered the Tau, there would be like, yeah, let's work together and fight them together. After which, I don't know where that goes from afterwards, but yeah. But anyway, you guys tell me in the comments below, what do you think it would be like if the Tau existed in the Halo universe? Do you think they'd be aligned with humanity or on their own or things like that? And also, how would they deal with the Flood? Just let me know in the comments below. Other than that, hope you all enjoyed this. I'm Mr. Multiverse. I'll see you next time in the Multiverse.